Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to make this floral V-split tumbler. I've had a lot of requests in my group to make a V-split, so we're going to make one, but since I've done this in the past, we're going to add on some striping detail. We're going to start off with a 32-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolia, and we're using some vinyl from Gracefully Created. I'm going to cut off a very small piece of the backing of the vinyl. That way, once we have it lined up with the top rim of our tumbler, we can press that down and work it away around the tumbler. Once I have made my way around, I'm going to take some painter's tape and just put a straight line over the seam where our vinyl meets. That way we can cut a straight line with the craft knife. And I normally trim my vinyl to fit the tumbler so I don't have to trim off the vinyl on the bottom, but we're going to use the trimmer tool from Kimmy Page Boutique. So once I have the vinyl removed from the top and underneath of my seam, I'm going to press that down really well, pull the vinyl over the bottom edge pretty snug, and then we're going to grab our Kimmy Page Boutique vinyl trimmer, and we're going to use the half spacer, which is a additional spacer that you can purchase on their website, to trim off the bottom of this vinyl. I'm going to show you a really easy way to get a perfect V-split on the tumbler. You just take a piece of printer paper, wrap that around the tumbler and mark it off where it meets. Trim off that excess, fold it in half, and then we're going to cut it from corner to corner to make a perfect triangle that fits all the way around the tumbler. Once I have my triangle, I'm going to put that almost all the way up to the top of the tumbler, just leaving a little bit of the stainless exposed at the top. Tape that down in place once we have it straight, and then I'm going to use my craft knife to trim alongside the edges of this. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because once we have our glitter and epoxy on, we're going to be adding some stripes, so it will cover up any of those jagged edges if you have any when you trim your V-split. You can take the extra vinyl that you pulled off. Since it is a removable vinyl, you can just put it right back onto the backing and use it for another smaller project. I'm going to grab my painter's tape again and go right alongside of where we trimmed our vinyl off. Tape that off, and then we're going to go in with our paint so that we can give a base coat before we add on our glitter. Originally, I was going to do a white glitter to match the vinyl, but after painting a layer of white on there, I realized that there was some like violet accents in the vinyl, and I thought it would be really pretty to use a purple glitter instead of white. So I will be using our COLORFLEX 3-in-1 COLORFIX paint in white for the first layer, and then you will see I switch over to mixing a custom paint color with violet, glam, and black. Once I had finished painting this section, I did tape off the bottom of the tumbler right where we trimmed our vinyl and painted that as well so we can glitter the bottom. You can just set your tumbler to the side once you have used this paint and allow the paint to air dry for about 30 minutes, or you can use a heat gun on low heat setting and dry that up yourself in just a couple of minutes. You don't want to remove your tape until after you have glittered these areas, so we're going to take some epoxy. We're using the epoxy method for glitter application. I'm using the 1:1 ratio Artistry Fast Set. I'm just going to go over the V-split section and over the bottom of the tumbler. We're using probably half a milliliter for this section, since we would normally use about a milliliter to a milliliter and a half to do the whole tumbler. We're using Passion Flower from COLORFLEX. I wanted to use a smaller cut for the bottom of the tumbler since we're using a chunky mix for our V-split area. But once I had the other glitter on, I realized that this one was a little bit too bright. So I do end up adding a little bit of Rejoice to mix into that, but it does have very fine pieces in it. So it really didn't add any of the chunky bits. The fine pieces just fell in between the glitter on the bottom and just helped blend everything together. And I'm really sorry, I did not realize that Rejoice was a discontinued glitter from PDB Creative Studio. So an alternative for this glitter would be Captivating, SUPERSPY, or Velvet, or of course the Passion Flower from COLORFIX that we used on the bottom. Once you have your glitter on, tap down any of the chunky bits that might be sticking up, or you can roll it in some parchment paper or a sheet of notebook paper to press that down, and then remove all of your painter's tape to get those crisp and clean lines. You want to let this dry completely and then go over with some matte clear spray paint a couple of times to really seal in that glitter, and then epoxy until it is smooth. I have put 2 coats of epoxy on mine and then sanded so we have a smooth surface to add on our vinyl stripes. I am using the textured metallic gold from TeckWrapcraft, and I have cut each of these to 0.08 inches by 11.5 inches. I didn't necessarily have a plan of how I wanted to lay these out on the tumbler. I actually done it a few times before I was happy with the results, but I just kept on adding on the vinyl stripes until I was happy and had enough on there. The only thing that you want to make sure that you are doing when adding on stripes is to get them even on both sides. If you're not comfortable with just freehanding them, you can use a ruler and make marks with either an erasable marker. If you use an erasable marker, you want to make sure that you are doing that on a glossy tumbler so the ink does not fall down into your sand marks, or you can use a pencil so that you can just use a little bit of alcohol to clean that up after you finish all of your line work. Now, I originally put a vinyl decal on this tumbler and I didn't like it at all. I did get this image from Creative Fabrica and I will link it down below for y'all just in case you want to use it, but I do end up removing it and adding on our floral decal. So here I wanted to add some more stripes that went through the center, so I'm just using another sheet of vinyl that can go flat on the table and on the tumbler as well, so I can mark off a center point on both sides to add on some more vinyl. At this point, I was happy with all of my line work, so I removed that vinyl decal and then gave this one really thin coat of epoxy so we can add on this floral decal. This is a white image, but it is printed on a clear vinyl from Gracefully Created. So with it having a clear border, you want to make sure that you're putting it on a glossy surface. Otherwise, your sand marks will show through underneath that clear section. I just thought that it matched the vinyl perfectly and would really fill in this area at the top that might have just been kind of awkward with a vinyl decal. I have lots of floral decals with Gracefully Created, and to find those, all you have to do is go to the Gracefully Created ccd.com website, click on the creator section, and then find Brittany Barnes, and you will find all of my collaboration florals with them. Once we have added on our decal, there's no need to seal. You can just go in with your final 2 coats of epoxy. I am really happy with the way that this turned out, and I'm glad that I switched out the glitter with this really pretty purple and switched out that vinyl decal. The floral decal just sets the whole tumbler off and brings everything together. The vinyl that we used was part of the latest Brittany bundle with Gracefully Created, so that has been released in the bundle and sold out, but it will be released individually on the website on November 15th. All materials that I have used will be listed down in the description below, as well as some coupon codes for you. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the tutorial and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell in the corner to be notified anytime a new tutorial drops. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.